first night that we are live streaming youth group. Woo! Very, very exciting. So tonight it's going to be going to the church's YouTube page. But after this week, the rest of them, we have our own youth culture YouTube page. Kind of hard to find because there's only 7 subscribers right now. And I think they're all in the room, actually, which is great. But if you need to, I'll try to get something typed up and put it on the slides for afterwards. But it's JCN Youth Culture is the name of the YouTube page, okay? JCN, Jefferson Church Nazarene, Jefferson Nazarene Church, JNC. I know, hey, all these words in church names is so confusing when you're trying to come up with names for things. Let me just say, okay, as of right now, it's Jefferson Church of the Nazarene. And if y'all, I mean, that's a mouthful for all of us, right? So even going down to just Jefferson Nazarene Church is also still kind of a mouthful. So JNC Youth Culture is the name of the YouTube page, okay? So pretty soon we'll start live streaming those. I know there's a handful of people that can't make it. If something happens, you get quarantined or something, we'll have our live stream going so that you can catch up on it. And if you miss a week, you can go back and just watch it later. So it's super exciting. We're super excited. Since we just started it, I don't know if anybody's on there, but if anybody's on live stream, hello. We're glad you're here. Don't forget permission slips. Raise your hand if you've turned in your permission slip already. Wonderful. If you've turned in your permission slip already, I got a free pair of sunglasses for you that are super, super cool. Faden, are you in here? Oh, show everybody your sunglasses real quick. Oh, snap. Let me see those bad boys. Who does not want a slick pair of shades like that? Little youth culture on the side. So free sunglasses if you've turned in your permission slip. If you haven't, there are permission slips on the back table. Grab them, take them home, fill them out, bring them back, get free sunglasses. Also, I haven't mentioned this in a while. If you haven't been here in a while and you're new or whatever, you get a free t-shirt too. One of these cool bad boys. Okay, pretty awesome. So if you have not yet gotten your free t-shirt, you got to let me know so I can get you one, okay? I'm trying really, really hard to give you free stuff. I mean, in my opinion, it can't get much better than that. Like, free stuff, come on. So get your permission slips filled out. Don't forget, next week is our costume contest night. All right, so you're going to come dressed in your best costume, given that is the Wednesday before Halloween, right? It is, yeah. Calendars are hard, okay? Let's just know that about me right now. Next week is our costume contest. Prize will be some sort of large quantity of candy. All right? I'm not going to try and hide from you what the prize is. A large quantity of candy. You're going to love it. Your parents are going to love it even more, all right? So how we're going to score, I have no clue. We're going to figure that out, but do what you got to do. Costume contest, come dressed to impress. Ooh, I'm on a roll. And then last but not least, don't look at me like that. Now I just feel like my role is gone. Now, thanks a lot, Carly. On that note, Carly is speaking tonight. Super, super excited to hear from her. I know, I'm going all over the place. And then the last thing is, if you haven't not yet, raise your hand if you have a phone and you're on the Bible app. If you're on the Bible app, what you can do, I can't remember if there's a slide for this or not. I think there is, but don't worry about it. I want you to, on your Bible app, add me as a friend. It's just Tommy Casper, and it's a picture of me playing guitar, like an action shot, and it looks really cool, like, wow. It's really cool. Anyways, add me on the Bible app. We're going to start a series or a plan on the Bible app tomorrow that correlates with the series that we're going through right now in youth group, okay? So if you're on the Bible app, highly encourage you, add me on it tonight, so that way I can invite you to the plan that we're going to start tomorrow, okay? If you're like Cole Stuyvesant, you did day 1 today and you got ahead already. I'm just kidding. I know. He didn't actually do it, but he like accepted my request, found the plan, and it just checked off the entire first day for him, and he didn't even do anything. So I was like, hey, man, overachiever, good job. Oh, that's what I remember happening. My bad. So yeah, if you're on the Bible app, let's think it'd be a lot of fun. You don't have to. This isn't like a mandatory thing. It's just like if you're looking for another way to do some devotionals together with each other, I'd encourage you to do that. So Worship team, why don't you guys come on up and get ready? We're going to worship tonight, and then, like I said, Carly is going to bring us the word before we have small groups, and it should be a great evening. So with that, hey, let's stand up and let's worship together.
Hello, 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 hello. Thank you, guys. That was fun. I can't feel my bottom half or my top half now. So, honestly, I decided that I was going to exhaust myself today so that I had to rely on the Spirit of God. Because I was like, oh. Honestly, Tommy told me, or asked me if I would help this week because he's got a lot of responsibilities for the family fun, not Saturday, no, not Friday, Saturday night, family night. Come out, represent, get candy, get a free gift of very many dollars worth. You should be there. It's going to be awesome. Starts at 5, right? Right here in our building. Yep. So yeah, this is still horrifying. Okay. I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really happy that I'm here and I'm alive. And when Tommy told me this, he sent me because like we use a curriculum. Some of you guys know that. And it's basically a skeleton of an idea for what we want to teach. It keeps us on track. It helps us. We don't stray from the path because the path is God's will. No, okay, I'm sorry. So basically tonight, the first thing was share a moment you felt abandoned. And I was like, it's almost like Satan's here trying to drag me down, and then God up here, he's trying to pull me up. I don't know if that's actually spatially accurate at all. But that's a little hard for me just because I was adopted, and there was serious abandonment things in my story. And I was like, well, I might as well just share it with my friends because I've been around a minute, and you guys probably have heard the majority of my story. But I was like, why not give them the details? So y'all gonna get the details tonight. I'm alone. Just kidding. That's what it's about. The title of tonight is, why do we feel, when I'm hurting, why do I feel far from God? Boom. When I'm hurting, why does God feel far away? And maybe some of you haven't experienced that much of feeling hurt yet. Maybe you think, it's not that bad, like there's these people that tell these dramatic stories, like mine, that make me feel like I don't know what it is to even be hurt, to feel like that God is far away. But I actually feel like we do know what it's like to be alone, and we do know what it's like to feel hurt. And so hopefully I can elicit all those feelings and all those circumstances that you guys have gone through my story. So now it's story time. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. When I was born, I was born in a town called Tongling, China. This is a place in China. It is on the east side of Asia. And whoever my birth parents were, they swaddled me up the day after I was born and put me on the floor of, it's basically like an outdoor Walmart. It's like the equivalent. It's an outdoor open air market. And they found me, and orphanages in 1995, which is when I was born in the 90s, when the RAD cycle began, there was a one-child policy, which was actually two-child policy, because if you had a female, you could have another one, because females were of no worth in Asia. So I was dropped off in this place. There are everybody knows if you see a baby, take it to the shelter. So I got to go to the shelter. I get to the shelter, and then around the world, in Strongsville, Cleveland, Ohio, my mom was like, she couldn't have another child. They were trying to expand their family. My dad was like, But actually about 9 months is how long it takes to have a baby, right? And I was conceived roughly around the same time that my dad agreed to adopt, which is like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. So they decided to adopt. They get a picture of me as a 2-month-old, which I was going to put it up there, but I was like, I'm too cute for this. Y'all are going to get too out of sorts because I'm adorable. I'll show you later if you really want to see. And then 2 months later, they come and pick me up, and I'm like, hoo-ha, I'm there. So obviously, my parents didn't hide that I was adopted, and they didn't hide that I was Chinese, but your girl didn't understand. I genuinely was just like, tra-la-la. And then at like 8 or 9 years old, I had the realization. Is there any, you're 6. There's no 8. Is Addison 8, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm about her age, and I'm like, Ma, why? Because I was asking why. Why was I abandoned? Oh, here it comes. That was fast. And I have a pretty vivid memory of just crying with my mom. My dad was like a bit of a workaholic at this point in my life, so he wasn't there. But I was crying with my mom asking why, and she was like, I don't know, but I'm glad that I have you. And I can still remember that. I hate emotions. You guys, my eyes have been hurting for like 2 days straight because I've been thinking about this. So that's my experience with abandonment, my experience with very deep pain, as you can see, because not many things make me cry. Like, you have to really hurt me, or I have to be emotionally wrought. And that was what I was when I realized what it meant to be abandoned. Oh, my nose be dripping. It's all over the microphone. I love you too. So after that, like, I basically couldn't see a Asian family without freaking out. We went to Kitty Hawk. Wow, thanks. It's like coming out. There's no stop. We went to Kitty Hawk, which is the place where those people flew the first plane. It's like really cool. Is that South Carolina? I don't know. But I saw, like, honestly, our area where I grew up was more diverse than here, but less diverse than most places. And so I saw the first Asian family all together. The kids, they were all trying to take a picture. They were ordering. It was a normal family, and I was just like, ugh, you know, like, it was just scary because I don't look like that with my family. My family, I should have gotten a picture of them too. They're all Caucasian, and I don't look like I actually belong, right? So I was grappling with that into my early teens. And then flash forward, then I was like, meh, who cares if I'm adopted? I'm going to live this life. I know how to work the system. There's a system, I worked it. And I lived a fine life, and I had great privilege, and I had great experiences and opportunities. And it led me to the college in Nyack, where I went. And in that period of my life, I actually thought that I was going to be a missionary to China. And so I took Chinese. But that language, no matter what, she's hard, but she's extra hard for me because I can't hear tone very well, and it's a tonal language. So, like, you could say ma, but it could be ma, and it's a totally different meaning. I'll be cussing people out, I don't even know it, because of a tone and inflection. I couldn't hear it physically, but also, I've never had a relationship with an older Asian woman, and that was my teacher, and I was just like, now I can see that I was honestly projecting onto her that you're my birth mother who abandoned me. I'm not learning from you. Like, it was this rebel phase that I've never had. I never rebelled in my youth at all. Maybe I'm rebelling right now. But, so this, like, this, like, hurt feeling of abandonment has still carried with me even to this day. Like, right now, that's the other thing when I saw that this was what we were talking about. I was like, I can't talk about this. I don't have a close to my story. This is too open-ended. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I don't really have, like a anchor point for this part of my story right now of, like, understanding or, like, having this awesome revelation. It actually, like, has carried into right now just my job and, like, understanding my career, understanding, like, my purpose in life, like, how can I live my life and feel meaning, that kind of stuff. And it flushes out as, do I abandon my job before my job abandons me, which is really messed up. And even still to this day, side note, I have 3 best buddies, and they were all also born in 1995 in a region of China, and then somehow got to Cleveland, Ohio like me, and somehow were in the same church as me. And we all became friends, not because our parents were like, you need to be friends with other Asians so that your culture doesn't die. It was like we genuinely hung out. And it's because, sociologically, like people want to be with like people, so I saw myself in them, and we became great friends. And still to this day, we can joke, but we're, like, low-key serious about, like, how our adoptions, our abandonments still have, like, a ripple effect in our lives, and we're still, like, how do we engage in relationships? How do we engage in our careers? How do we engage with communities without feeling like we're just going to get the rug pulled out from underneath us, like when we were babies and we never even had a say, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very confusing stuff. And And like I have come to that point of accepting, of being extremely grateful for being abandoned and then adopted into the family that I have now. I'm extremely grateful for the place that I am right now. In water. I know that I have privileges that I would have never experienced if it weren't for God literally plucking me out and dropping me exactly where He wanted me to be. But it doesn't invalidate the hurt feelings that I had due to abandonment, right? So, yeah, I guess I kind of already jumped ahead, but these past 2 years, I've definitely spent a great deal of time crying out to God, crying out to Him, like how we're going to see in some Psalms. So we're going to open the Word because I want you to know that I'm not lying to you about what God says about us. If y'all have a Bible. The next slide is Psalms. Did I put these in the right order? Yeah, Psalms 22. They're wrong on mine. All right. It says, Lord, this is the Passion Translation. I really enjoy this translation because it kind of mixes it up, but not too much like the Message. Because the Message, I'm like, whoa, what you saying? But this is like a little bit closer to how my brain works. Lord, you delivered me safely from my mother's womb. You are the one who cared for me even since I was a baby. Since the day I was born, I've been placed in your custody. You've cradled me throughout my days, and you've always been my God. So don't leave me now, for trouble is all around me, and there's no one to help me. Is there another, or is that it? That's probably it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I read that a couple days ago, and it very deeply resonated with me because I was like, okay, obviously this is actually talking about Jesus. This is talking about his relationship with the Father and sensing on the cross, oh my goodness, like I'm about to die. Like, God, please, you let me be born. You brought me into this world. You allowed me to be perfect. You allowed me to do your will so that I would redeem all of mankind. Where are you? I thought, like, what, is this really it? Like, a lot of you guys who've grown up in the church have heard about the Garden of Gethsemane where he's, like, bleeding out of his skin because of how stressed he was of being alone and God turning his face from him for the moment that he had to take upon our sins. But yeah, it definitely resonated with this, just like, there's going to be a time in your lives, maybe it's right now, and you're feeling good, and you're sitting pretty, and things seem to be stable, and you like your school, you like your friends, your family's getting along, and these are sweet times, and they're passing, they could be passing, like, I don't want to be scary, but things happen in your life, your eyes are opened to crazy things, and suffering is inevitable, and I'll get to why it works in the end, but in those moments of suffering, you might have a moment like this, where you think back and you're just like, God, I had all those friends in 6th grade. Like, what the heck? I'm in 7th grade, new school. Where are my people? Come on, God. Like, you had my back then, and where are you now? So this is very interesting as far as, like, circumstantially, how we as human beings have to process our suffering. So, as I was saying, this part in Psalms is kind of referring to Jesus. And if you go to Matthew 27, we all over the place. Matthew 27 in verses 32 to 50. I don't think I put all of them in there because it's a lot. Did I put them all in there? Because I don't have them. All right, I just snipped it. At 3 o'clock, Jesus shouted with a mighty voice in Aramaic, Eli, Eli, lima sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you deserted me? This is that moment of, there's like a lot of studies actually on this theologically, but it's the moment that Jesus felt alone, that Jesus felt that God wasn't caring for him, that he was crying out for God's help, and God's like, give me a second here. Give me a second. You're about to redeem all mankind. Give me a second here. But he had to turn his face so that his son could bear the sins of many. And it's interesting, like the context, the other verses that are around this is like, people are just sitting there watching Jesus like die on the cross, and they're thinking of jokes, and they're like, you the king? Where's your God now? And then they're rolling dice, playing games waiting to get his clothes. Like, it's very interesting that Jesus could be having this life-altering moment, truly life-altering for all of us, while a bunch of dum-dums are just betting on his clothes. Like, there's like such a huge juxtaposition or like opposite view of like the care of life that Jesus had for us while we were such idiots. You dumb. Be like, okay, I am dumb. Manny would be like, don't say that. Don't say that about yourself. She's like, she helps me out there. So yeah, some of you guys have maybe at retreat or at a small group or talking with a BFF or asking for help from a mentor had a really deep connection with God. And so you know what it's like when you're in a deep relationship with him and you're flying high, like nobody can touch you, like your bullies or whatever, and your insecurities are gone because you just feel good because God tells you who you are, and what he tells you is actually really good, right? And similarly, Jesus had those times of just like, I'm living it out right now. This is like what I was called to do, and he truly was. And then flip the script, and now he's here, about to die on the cross, screaming out for God. It's a great reflection of how Jesus empathizes with us in that we too, one day, even if we know great times now, might know suffering one day. That's hard to grapple with. But the point of the suffering was redemption, which we get to have too. So another verse in Psalms 42 says this. Maybe. Psalms 42, yeah. I will say to God, you are my mountain of strength. How could you forget me? Why must I suffer this vile oppression of my enemies, these heartless tormentors who are out to kill me? Their wounding words pierce my heart over and over while they say, where is this God of yours? So I say to my soul, don't be discouraged, don't be disturbed, for I know my God will break through for me. Then I'll have plenty of reasons to praise him all over again. Yes, he is my saving grace. That is the one, like I studied a lot in college of like other world religions. And there was a time, honestly, because I lost a friend and I was like kind of wandering super dowdy. And I was like, should I just try one of these things out? And the one thing that like latched into me that kept me wanting to try Jesus was hope. It was the idea that there's a greater purpose, a greater intention on my life than what I could ever imagine. And similarly to how Jesus maybe in that moment was like, nothing good will come of this. I'm hurting so bad. Everybody's being so mean to me. Right over the corner for him and for all of us was the greatest redemption story you've ever heard. And like, he will apply that to your life. There are times of suffering that you'll have to endure, and it's coming. I remember when I was sitting in your seat, and I was sitting pretty, and nothing could touch me, and I this is so stupid, I'm off the rails here, but I remember praying in my journal, God, give me suffering, because I felt like a numb sitting duck. I felt like nothing was happening. I wasn't really flexing my faith at all. I wasn't demonstrating who Jesus was to my friends, anything like that. So I was like, give me suffering or give me death. And now I'm like, take it all back, please. Where was I going? So hope. Hope is so good. We are so lucky that we have a chance to hope. The tricky part is the timing thing, which is what I don't have an answer to because I'm not in the future. I wish I was in the future. I wish I could tell you everything. But when you don't know what's going to happen and you act on hope, you honor God. And honoring God is something hard. Our culture, we don't want to submit to anybody. We don't want to say that anybody else is right except for ourselves. He's like, if you do, I will exceed your expectations. I will reveal the plans that I have for you. Like, he isn't trying to pull away while you hurt. You're pulling away when you're hurt. And it's because it's just a natural reaction. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to go fast here. Yeah. Lots of time to just sit and stare at each other in a small group. I'm so excited. That moment of forsakenness that Jesus had wasn't made up for. It was like blown out of the water. Like God used that act to give me a chance today to say that I have hope, that the pain that I have, the suffering that I have from this deep-seated abandonment, vulnerable issue of mine, it's going to see a light someday. Maybe it's when I have a kid. Maybe it's when I choose to adopt. Like maybe there's a full circle waiting for me, and it's going to exceed my greatest expectations. It's going to fill that hole with Jesus, with God, with the love and mercy and grace that he has for me. Nothing else is going to work. You're going to try other things. You're going to run from God. You're going to try drugs. You're going to try sex. You're going to do stupid things because you're going to just think and be convinced by other Nimrods that it might work. I'm here to tell you it's not going to work. People already tried. It never worked. Off the box. Okay. But that's what I want for myself. I want my hopes to be blown out of the water. I want to be like, what? You did that, God? You did that for me? I want to be ready to have plenty of reasons to praise him all over again. And so if you're sitting here tonight and you're like, yeah, right, Carly. Yeah, right, that's going to happen. Puberty sucks, Carly. Like, this is never going to end. There's actually an end. We're going to be okay? So, yeah, call me back in 50 years, and I'll let you know what happened. But if you feel abandoned tonight, if you feel lonely, your circumstances, COVID, other sickness, people passing away, your friends at school, if you just are feeling lonely and it's making you choose to step away from your relationship with God, please do not. Tell me, tell the other adults, tell your peers that you're alone. Sometimes we get so stuck in our head and we think, nobody will know how I feel. Nobody will know. It's just too much. Like, they'll never know. Even I was thinking that earlier. I was like, I ain't going to share my story. Nobody's going to know. Like, we got a couple of adopted kids in here. It's awesome. But a lot of people don't understand certain things. And Satan uses that to make you think, I can never tell them that I'm low right now because they just aren't going to get me. If you want to not be God, that's fine. But you can still ask for help even in that. So I would just encourage you in the small group time that we're about to enter into, take the opportunity. I am inviting you to tell me that you are lonely and that you are trying to run from God, because it's okay. If I think that this is the last suffering I'll have, that's a lie. There's another one coming. I got to get ready. I got to start doing this as an exercise, getting ready to flip every page and be like, there's hope, there's hope, there's hope, there's hope. So take this time to use that space to just be honest. And then if you are sitting pretty and you're feeling good and your relationship with God is alive and breathing and something that you're really happy about, because that's what happens when you in that kind of relationship. Think about I don't know, is anybody dating right now? No. Well, right when you start dating somebody in the honeymoon phase, that honeymoon phase with God lasts forever if you try. Now it doesn't. Mine fluctuates on and off. But if you're sitting pretty right now and you're in that honeymoon phase with God and you're just I see his mercy. I see the way he's providing for my friends. I see the way that he loves my family. I see the way that he loves me. I know what he says about me. This is your opportunity, this next 30 minutes, to listen to your peers. To listen first. Do not say anything first. Listen as hard as you can. Ask as many questions as you can. Get to the bottom of them. Let them cry. Let them laugh. Let them fart if they have to. There's just so much built up in us. Sometimes you just got, Use that opportunity to flex your faith of being a good friend. If not now, when? You just think you're going to make a friend that'll stick forever later? Now's the time. I'm still friends with 3 friends from grade school, and I would be dead without them. I would truly be at least very confused with my life. So now's your time to listen, to encourage, not in like a, to encourage exactly how God might prompt you to, and to show up tomorrow and the next day and the next day in little ways. Being thoughtful of others is like your next step if you're sitting pretty and you know somebody who is alone and wanting to run from God. And you're like, no, don't run from God. Come over here with us. We'll do it together. You are not alone. It's really hard to think about until somebody looks you in the eye and tells you, you're not alone. Okay, we have a lot of time to stare at each other. I'm going to pray really fast. Yeah, he's like, you better pray. Be a good preacher's wife. Okay. Dear God, thank you so much for today. Thank you that that your son's suffering and then all of our redemption as well as his as he sits at your right hand forevermore, that it represents how our suffering can be turned, redeemed, reconciled, that what was made broken can be made whole, but by you alone. And so I just pray for people who are hurting right now that you would be, you are close to the brokenhearted. So I pray that they wouldn't push you away, but that they would reach out for you and just like stay close, and that they would use their friends and use their mentors to help them to understand that closeness, because it's very overwhelming, but give them that insight. And I just pray for the others of us who aren't experiencing suffering right now to be great listeners, to be great lovers of our friends, and helping them see you through it all and having hope. We love you. Amen. The